Welcome back to Navigate New York. I'm so excited to introduce season 5, and this season is just filled with incredible guests that I'm so grateful that I get to sit down and interview. I'm also so grateful to be sponsored this season by Amvoy Wealth. Amvoy Wealth is a cross-border financial firm who specialise in assisting Irish individuals moving to, living in, or returning from the United States. So Amvoy Wealth are uniquely positioned to help you if you have financial interests in both Ireland and the US. You can find out more at amvoywealth.com. I'll leave their link in the show notes, and I'm so delighted to be partnering with Amvoy Wealth for season 5 of Navigate New York. Welcome back to Navigating New York. I am so excited to introduce this week's guest. This week I have with me Conor Twomey. Conor is a Cork native and he's been living in New York for 12 years. He is, if you don't know him already, you're going to love this episode. He has so much energy. He is just got so much passion about what he does. He is a mentor to Irish people in New York. He's just got such a beautiful energy, and it was so nice for me to sit down with him. I was torturing Conor to be a guest on Navigating New York for years, so it's been lovely that we could find the time today. And he's just launched a new exciting business venture. Conor is one of these very tech AI genius people, and he's been a thought leader in that industry for many years. And even people like me who don't know an awful lot about AI and tech can learn from Conor. He makes it all very accessible, but more so even than his career. And he's a dad, and he's an amazing runner and has such an enthusiasm for life. Conor is just such a good example, I think, of an Irish person who really gives back and who likes to help other people in the community and leads by example and cares about people. And he's just, you'll see what I mean if you don't know him already when you listen to this episode. So thank you so much to Conor. It was so nice to have this interview. We are coming to the end of season 5, which I'm sad about, but it's been so incredible. My guests have all been amazing. So we have 3 more episodes left, including this one. So I hope you enjoy. And as always, thanks so much for listening.
This is the job.
This is it, Conor.
Gorgeous. Congratulations. What a beautiful little home.
Wouldn't it be lovely if this was my apartment?
This is not your apartment?
This isn't my apartment. What? No, I don't live on 39th. But I feel very at home here.
What is this? Great
Gotham Podcast
great
Studios. Yeah, are lovely. They're great. Big shout out to Gotham. Conor, welcome to Navigate New York.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I don't know what to expect. So, no, thanks for having me.
I'm delighted to have you.
Congrats on all your success.
Conor.
I love following your journey.
You're amazing.
So, remember us when you're famous.
Stop. I knew this would actually happen, where I feel like you'll take over. You'll ask me questions, and I'm not going to let that happen, Conor.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you're going to be answering.
You can try your best. You can try your best.
But it's nice to start where you've just started. I think that what has always struck me about you, Conor, and a lot of people in the Irish community here in New York, is that you are such a cheerleader and champion for Irish people, and for people in general who are here in New York City and are progressing and have ambition and goals and desires. And you're a really positive person. You're very well regarded by anyone who I know who knows you. If I mention your name, they're like, Conor's a legend. Conor's the man.
That's very kind. Thank you. You're disarming me. I see this
tactic. I
see this tactic. Yeah, but for me, like when I was growing up, I'm a 39-year-old. I still don't know what I want to be kind of when I grow up. And so going on my career journey, people were very, very open with their time and generous with their time and their network. And when I was going through secondary school and through college, I didn't have a big bench of people there to guide me on my career journey. And then when I started my career, I did. And I was very fortunate, and I took the opportunities to buy people the coffee and ask them what they did, and had a big long list of jobs that was like, okay, well, I don't want to do that when I grow up. Or, it's like a little career compass that was helping me out. And so I realized quite quickly that no matter what age you are or where you are in your professional journey, that mentorship is incredibly important. And so that became something that was a passion project of mine, that everybody at every stage of their career professionally should have a mentor. You're never too young or too early to have a mentor, but equally to actually be a mentor as well. And so that spirit of kind of spending a small amount of your time kind of giving back and opening doors for people and just helping them on their career journey actually gives me a lot of gratification and satisfaction as well. So
amazing. I couldn't agree more. I feel like mentorship is something, especially whenever you live away from your home base, it's just so important to feel connected to people. And if you have that ambition and drive, and everyone, you know, deserves to have, if there's someone who knows a little bit more about what they're doing, to have that guidance. And like, I've definitely found that more. I think I've been in New York. How many years have you been in New York?
Oh, so I've been here for 10 of the last 12 years. It's my third time living in New York.
Third time? What happened?
Every time I try and leave,
you're dragged back in.
Pulls me back in.
Love it.
But I worked for an incredible company that was effectively, as a joke, a travel and lifestyle company that had a day job.
Okay.
But it was an incredible Newry-based company called First Derivatives.
Uptown.
Uptown, there we go.
I'm in red and black and everything.
Well done. And their promise was kind of bring your passport and we're going to give you world-class training in Newry, County Down, which lasted for 5 weeks. And then we're going to deploy you into capital market hubs around the world. And you're going to work for the top hedge funds, the top banks, and get this amazing experience. And it all sounded too good to be true. And just talk about over achieving on all expectations.
Really?
So the opportunity to travel to London and live there for almost 2 years, and then come to New York for a year, go back to Ireland for a few months, and then back to New York for a second time, but always on kind of project work. And so I got the phone call the last time from the founding CEO, Brian Conlon, who very sadly passed away 5 years ago this past summer. He said, Conor, after making a few hiring mistakes now in New York, would love you to go over there just for a little bit, shore things up. And I said, Jack, do you want me to go for a week or for a month or what do you think? He goes, a bit longer than that. Have a chat with Trina. We'll bring her up to Carlingford. We'll have a chat. And so began our last journey, which was to come out here for 2 years only, and a classic Irish tale. We're here kind of 8 years later with 2 young kids, and so 2 little Americans.
Love it.
And so classic expat story, but we're moving home next year.
Are you definitely?
I've said, anyone who knows me well, it's like the running joke. It's like the running joke.
Yeah.
Next season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love that you've given us that insight into the journey of how you're still here. And obviously, as you said, like you got in with this incredibly innovative company, First Derivatives, and they give you these opportunities. But you obviously have such drive and talent and smarts to get to have these opportunities. So I'd love to know about you as young Conor and like school and university, and you've started in this whole tech industry before tech was so cool for me. I'm like, that's the guy who's all like techie.
How far back do we want to go here in the story? I think is when I was growing up, I wanted to be in the movies.
Oh, did you? You wanted to be an actor?
I didn't play sports.
Right.
I went to speech
performative.
and drama at the
that.
weekends, and then started playing sports when I got a little bit older and dropped the drama. And I was quite numerical, so I wasn't very good at languages, but loved maths. My brother very kindly kind of gave me a kind of master classes on learning maths, my older brother Mick. And so was quite good at maths, and I got full marks in the junior cert in maths.
Wow.
And so I was thinking about that as a career, and was then studying college maths at the weekends when I was in 4th year and 5th year. So part of the Irish Olympiad training team. And I realised very quickly that no matter how good I was at maths, I was not as good as the rest of these people at maths. So it was a very competitive landscape. But I enjoyed it. And what I enjoyed was problem solving and puzzles and using tools, whether it was maths tools or technology tools, to solve interesting problems. And so I think over the course of my career, I had this confluence of like enjoying being a bit extroverted and a bit of a performer, kind of being numerically minded where maths and computers were there to solve a problem. And over the course of 15 years with First Derivatives and KX, a company they acquired, ended up working on some really interesting data challenges and kind of teed up this entire world of AI, which is all about data. AI is like the sprinkle on top of your data. And so, just kind of found my feet, I suppose, Sophie, over time. But that little career compass all of the time, nudging me left or nudging me right, was very helpful. And mentors played such a huge role in that journey as well.
I love to hear that. That's really, so did AI, when AI exploded onto the scene in the last couple of years, was that something you predicted? Did you sort of have a feeling that was what was next?
So in 2017, machine learning AI was huge in 2017 as well.
Yeah,
everyone was like, AI is going to change the planet. This is going to take over. And it was machine learning at the time. And it was some of the things that it could do were quite transformative. But I went on this journey of discovery where I spoke to over 500 customers about machine learning. Where are you today? What are you thinking about? What are the sort of use cases that this technology could unlock? And it all boiled down to like a Netflix recommendation engine. Like, I've done these following 9 things, therefore you'll likely want to do the 10th thing. Mm-hmm. So if I have 1,000 tasks, so let's say my job is to audit tax filings, as an example. Can I use machine learning, which is pattern matching, to identify the outliers, the edge cases, the unusual cases that are most anomalous, most unusual looking? And then can I order that for someone who's physically examining those cases? Mm-hmm. Can I order it by how anomalous it is? Mm-hmm. And that for me was quite novel. But it was like, okay, you need specialist skills, specialist technology. And the outcome was so boring. So I was like, And then I did a similar journey on blockchain. So I went deep into blockchain. And I was trying to find, what are the edge cases? What are the use cases? How is this going to generate value? And so when OpenAI released ChatGPT and kind of released it in the wild to the world, I began a new journey. And so almost like an investigative journalist working with executives, what does this mean for you? How can you harness your data assets to take advantage of these tools and techniques? And so built up over 600 conversations now about generative AI in the last year and a half. And I've spoken at over 50 events, specifically about how this technology can deliver growth, innovation, and efficiency, where efficiency isn't just a euphemism for job cuts, and all through the lens of time, cost, and risk. So not talking about bits or bytes or speeds or feeds. So my secret sauce, as it were, would be being able to listen. So listening to people, talking them through their business, or them talking through their business, and then me talking back through their language, business language, about what this technology unlocks today that you couldn't do yourself yesterday. And so we're having so much fun, Sophie. We're having the time of our life. Seriously, it's such a laugh.
It's interesting that you said earlier you weren't strong with languages, because your language around this is so accessible that even somebody like me who has very little, knowledge around tech and AI, I'm self-learning. You make it feel a lot less intimidating and a lot more accessible and a lot less, scary, because I think what I was saying there about the last couple of years is when it's really come into sort of public, it's in everyone's conversation, and people have always had that fear, that we're all going to lose jobs, and you're like, no, this is just making everything better and easier. That's
the exactly. It has to be the approach, and that doesn't happen like when I had my first 5 conversations. Generative AI, the new wave of AI, I was a bumbling idiot, and the next 10 conversations, I wasn't much better. And the next 10 conversations after that, I was able to say, that's great, but did you think about this?
Yes.
And then kind of 50 more conversations, I'm saying, okay, well, here's what you need to think about. And so it's almost like a performance that way. That it's like an artist. I'm not comparing myself to an artist at all. And to all artists out there, I apologize for even trying to make that comparison.
Drama.
But it's an iterative process, is what I'm trying to say. It takes a little bit of confidence as a Cork man, I think, to kick off the journey and to look stupid and to sound stupid at the beginning, knowing that over time you can refine your craft a little bit to be able to speak and create a safe space for people to talk without feeling intimidated by the technology, without feeling stupid. That's the key thing.
That is one of the most powerful tools I think we have in our style of communication, is vulnerability. And, especially as a leader in your industry, I find it as well in terms of my public speaking and auctioneering and emceeing and all of that, like showing vulnerability creates so much opportunity for like a deeper, meaningful connection. And that's obviously served you so well in terms of your own learning and learning with, all of these other geniuses.
Yes. No, it has been. I think if I was to think of where did I begin to learn that craft? I was an individual contributor, so working with kind of top banks and hedge funds, building trading and risk systems using data. And I got the opportunity to manage a very small team, a team of 7. And that was, I think, the toughest journey in my kind of 15-year transition. I ultimately ran teams of 400 people. But that initial team of 7 was like, oh, are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
Go work away.
Shit. I have to mind 7 people. 7 people have entrusted their professional journey to me. And a lot of them were young grads. So it was like, okay, I realized quite quickly that every person is different and every person has fears, concerns, desires, apprehensions. And so realizing actually that you can't just hand someone a book and say, here's how you become a professional, but actually get to understand the people, build that trust. And you build that by being sincere and really caring about them above and beyond what they deliver 9 to 5. So learned a lot about empathy that way and how to create safe spaces for people.
Wow.
It's just fun. Yeah, it's fun. And then COVID accelerated things as well in a big way. So I was here running our North American business during COVID. And so had my door open 24/7, my virtual door open 24/7 for anyone who wanted to have a chat. And even had a few Irish mammies contact me in private to say, please don't tell my son or daughter that I'm contacting you, but I want to make sure they're doing okay.
Aww.
And that New York isn't as dystopian as it's been presented on RTE News every day.
100%.
And so I will never reveal the identity of said Irish mammies. I could never break the Irish mammy trust code.
Oh my God, you'd be going straight to hell, Conor. We all know that.
Exactly. The secret society that is.
Yes, yeah. So how did you cope during COVID as a very energetic, social extrovert? How did you get on?
So my life at the time was kind of back-to-back Zoom calls. And myself and my wife shared a small apartment in Soho. Yeah. And so someone said a great quote. It was like, myself and my wife are playing a game. It's called You're Doing It Wrong. And there are no winners. Yeah. And I was like, I think I was making breakfast one morning and I forgot to stir the yogurt and Trina got upset. And we realized actually for our sanity that I needed to go back into the office. So I started going into the office. That combined with, I've got a terrible knack, and this was before I was a dad, of telling the same terrible dad joke on a Zoom call, just to open it up, just to be like, hey. And Trina was overheard on one of the calls saying, if I hear that fucking joke one more time. Leadership is about consistency, Sophie.
That's it. If it works, you keep doing it.
Keep going. Exactly. Yeah. And so I think there was certainly, making sure that I felt personally responsible for keeping all of our people safe.
Of course.
And there was physical health and mental health crises as a result of it. And then I kind of had an immediate gravitation to the young graduates, and I thought about my own career journey where so much of my learning came from being able to waddle over to someone at a computer and say, I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't know what this is, and how difficult it must have been for those people who were all remote to try and learn and get up the curve. And it's very tough, and I think we have to redouble our efforts. And I spend a lot of time, as I said, on mentorship specifically to give people that opportunity to have someone to talk to and to have that safe space. During COVID, running played a good role. I ran a marathon during COVID. It was a staggered start, had to wear a mask at the beginning and the end, socially distant run.
Wow.
It was horrific.
Oh, was it?
It was horrific.
Oh, God.
It was lonely.
Was it New York?
It was in New York. It was at Rockaway Beach.
Okay. Oh, I love Rockaway.
Which was gorgeous.
Yeah.
But it was an 8-mile point to point. So you had to run for 8 miles along the boardwalk, stop at a wall, touch the wall, run back, and back and back and back and back and back and back. And I made Trina promise I'd never do it again.
Okay.
And then I ended up doing another marathon in November.
Oh, yes.
So I did New York last November. Never again. So if I'm saying this to the audience, never again.
I doubt it. So Trina and you have 2 babies now.
We do.
You're a dad. How's that changed your life?
Just fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Orla's 3.5. She's a little wind-up merchant.
Oh.
And so it's a mini me, and we get into the biggest scraps. We're both stubborn as mules, but we both love a wind-up. And so my wife loves it because it's literally me holding up a little mirror to myself.
Telling the dad jokes.
It's exactly.
Orla loves them, I'm sure.
And she is fantastic fun. And then little McDara, who's just the happiest little baby, just feed him and keep him out of trouble because he's literally trying to jump off of anything that he gets near. But they're both two very happy kids, and it gives me great fulfillment. So love being a dad. Yeah.
So happy for you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Did it majorly change your life? Like, I often think about it, you know, we have no kids yet, and I'm like, how is my life going to change? How has it, like, logistically, like practically, how has it changed? Has it affected, you know, has it been different than you expected? What would you say to people who are new parents or thinking about it?
My wife is a saint.
Yeah.
My wife, I've a new appreciation for the saintlyhood of my wife. She's incredible. I love you, darling. Thank you.
So sweet.
And so I think it's like, I love doing all the things. I'm a very energetic person. I sign up for everything. So it's like running, basketball. I'm doing volunteer work with 2 charities, golf. She's like, okay, you've got like 10 things that you love. Pick 2.
That's good.
And we will, and work was one of the 2. So it's like, pick 2. So I kind of need the job, I suppose. We'll get to that later. But running was the other one. And so it focuses you to really prioritize how you spend your time, who you spend your time with. You find yourself having to say no more often than not. And I've kind of spent a decade of being like Jim Carrey in Yes Man, saying yes to everything. Yes. And so being a bit more focused with your time and kind of changing expectations with some of your pals. Like if you were used to having a Friday night out, that now becomes a Saturday afternoon out.
Love it.
And so kind of resetting some of those expectations. I think it's an interesting point that, like, when I felt settled in New York, regardless of whether it was with a dad or not at the time, was not having the fear of missing out. So like your favorite artist is literally playing a concert across the road and you're not going, and that's fine.
Yes.
It's like, I'm a New Yorker now.
I love it.
I'm settled here now.
I love it.
Because you can get so overwhelmed by the treadmill that just gets faster and faster and faster. And so
it can be detrimental, that treadmill.
Hugely so. And so I think that was good learning. You can't do all the things.
No.
And
it's important when you can, when you're young, like to do as much and experience as much as possible. I would fully agree that I think I kind of live like a parent without any kids, because I'm like, sorry, it's past 9 p.m. I won't be there, but thanks for the invite.
That's great. No, seriously, brilliant. But to have that confidence in yourself, and I think that's something that comes in age as well. I mean,
totally.
I'm in my 30s, very late 30s, 39.
When is your birthday?
10th of May.
Okay, so you've got a little while left.
We've time. We've got time to work with.
You have to have an epic 40th before you move to Ireland next year.
Oh yes, we will. Exactly. But when I turned 30, one of my very good colleagues and friends, John Keneally, shout out John. John said, "You're going to love your 30s." Because you get to know who you are, what you're about, what your identity is. Yeah. And you're totally, like, peer pressure just falls off a cliff. And you're totally comfortable saying, it's Friday night, I've had a long week of work, and actually I'm not available to go out. Sorry.
Love it.
And no excuse, just and that's totally fine. Yeah. And he was right. So he said the 40s are good too. So I'm excited for those.
Yeah, John sounds like he knows what he's talking about. So tell us about your recent big news and how that's feeling right now for you, and tell us a little bit about stealth mode.
Yes.
AI1.
Yes, AI1. So co-founder and managing partner of AI1 with my incredible business partner, Fergus Keenan, and our operating partner, Nadia, so Aidan Keogh, who's a super successful Irish entrepreneur here.
Wow.
And so through that kind of journalistic voyage of discovery, asking people about what they see as the enterprise value generation capability of this new technology, became more and more convinced that the entire business landscape was going to change. So this wasn't just technology for the sake of technology. Things were going to change rapidly. And I loved my time with First Derivatives in KX. I had 15 years there to the day.
Wow.
Which was incredible. And
it must have been hard to step away.
I think I think there's a couple of moments that happened. So our founding CEO passed away 5 years ago, as I said. He had asked me to come over to really shore up the business. And at the time, it was like 60 people here. It wasn't a core hub for the business. And so it wasn't being run in the way that Brian wanted it to be run, frankly. And so I came out here with a few different missions. And if you ever watched Quantum Leap growing up, kind of my mission was complete. I'd completed my mission.
Love that.
And the business is hugely America-centric now, and it's growing. And a lot of the leadership team are based here. And so I kind of did all of the things I needed to do and what I'd been asked to do. And so I was always toying with, do I stay here and continue the journey with this incredible company, these incredible people and customers and technology, or do I join another organization and go on the same journey? I joined First Derivatives as employee 150, and the company's 3,000 people. It actually got sold 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
The consulting part of the business got sold, but 3,000 person organization. So got to ride that wave, which was incredible.
Oh my God.
And play a big role in the direction of that growth as well, which felt amazing. But do I find another small company and help replicate that wave? Do I join a more reputable large company, or do I take a chance on creating something new? And had this very fortuitous opportunity to sit down with Aidan Keogh maybe 2 or 3 years ago now at a Digital Irish event. So big shout out to the Digital Irish crew.
Oh, we love Digital Irish.
Are we allowed to look into the camera?
You are.
American style.
Not many people do it, but I'm feeling it right now. Like, I love it. I'm going to start. Let's not even talk to each other.
Yeah, when it's a shout, but that's I
like the shout out.
This is the local style of comment of
Adrian, who's my incredible video editor, Amped Vision. He's based in Sydney, Australia. He will do this sort of like boom. Anytime you point, it's gonna it's gonna be flames behind.
No, great. Yeah, not flames. No, not flames.
Whatever you would like, the Cork flag.
Yeah, good. So I sat down with Aidan at an event that Fergal Kenny and Dara Hickey and Gavin McMahon organised, and literally there was, I think, 35 people who were like Ireland tech in a room, happened to be sitting beside Aidan Keogh, and I must have asked him 400 questions. He didn't get a word, and like he didn't get to ask me. Anytime he tried to ask me a question, he said up. And so someone reintroduced us last year, and he said, "You, fucking you! I remember you. We sat together at the dinner." And I said, "Yes." And so we began a discussion, a journey, and brought Fergus on the journey as well. And it was just a match made in heaven. Wow. Aidan's doing some amazing things across energy and data centers and AI, and really bought into myself and Fergus's vision that it was too early to build a product or a platform in the space because it was changing so rapidly. But there was a lot of value to be had in being able to articulate the value proposition of the technology beyond the picks and the shovels and the bits and the bytes, giving every executive a little bit more confidence, whether they're speaking to investors or board members or their own customers or their own employees, about what they're using AI for in service of growth, innovation, and efficiency. And so, we've had so much fun working with customers in the fashion industry. So we basically will sit down, and it's almost like a podcast. We'll sit down and interview an executive. And so I'll take on the persona of Malcolm Gladwell. My Fergus Keenan, shout out, will take on the persona of Michael Lewis, and we'll interview an executive for an hour. And we won't talk about technology at all. And then we'll come back at the end of that and say, here's a 12-page strategy that can either supplement what you have already or be a spiky point of view, counter opinion, but it's there to be thought-provoking to help you guys navigate a very complex landscape. Wow. And so we're having so much fun. Fashion industry, music industry, learning so much about what makes executives tick in different areas, in different regions. So we're having a ball.
Conor, to bring it to my layman's terms level here. So you're helping executives articulate. It's almost like the currency of articulating AI. Is that am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Or anywhere close?
Like there's a verb to AI something. Oh, should I AI that?
Okay.
And so it's a very nuanced question, and it really depends on the circumstance, the context. A lot of this technology is predicated on what's called a probabilistic method. What does that mean? That means, in layman's terms, if I ask this system 1,000 questions, it might have the same answer 999 times, but have a different answer 1 in 1,000 times. So you can't use that sort of technology in specific use cases where you have to have certainty around an answer. So like, what medication should I prescribe to someone with cardiac issues? You don't want to use generative AI to suggest that. And at its very core, the technology is actually a prediction technology. So AI is all about lowering the barrier or the cost of prediction. So it's been trained on the internet primarily. But if I had a sentence like, Mary had a little ... this model, this transformer, will take a look at the prior words in a sentence, give them different weightings, understand the relationship between those words, and predict based on those words what the next sentence is likely to be. So 999 times out of 1,000, it'll say Mary had a little lamb. But one time in 1,000, it might say Mary had a little lasagna.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
And that's the essence of this technology. That's the generative. It's creating something from a pattern that you give it. And what it's creating is guessing the next word in a sentence. And so being able to give people a playbook that sits at the intersection of hardware advancements, model advancements, technique advancements, people and skills, but to describe it in a way that is relatable, understandable, is really what we're focused on.
That's incredible. It's so complex, and you're at that intersection, as you said, of so many different parts, and are essentially educating and equipping people better to allow AI to better serve them.
Yes.
I've got
it. But cutting through the noise, there's so much noise. It's like a company releases, it's like Austin Powers, it's like Dr. Evil, 500 billion parameter model. And everyone's like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are the things that I can do today as a result of this 500 billion parameter model that I couldn't do yesterday? So we're translating all of that bits and bytes into what can you actually do in service of growth, in innovation specifically, and then efficiency as well.
It sounds like you could be at this 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because it's just so expansive, it's growing so rapidly, and there's so much more to discover and learn, and as it evolves and your service evolves, how do you know when to stop, or how do you find balance and learn, because you are such an energetic person and so passionate about this?
Yes.
Is that something that you struggle with, or have you gotten better?
Myself, my co-founder, and our operating partner have a set of ground rules.
Great.
So it's like, be easy to work with. Are you having fun? So if we're doing too much, it means we're not having fun.
Yeah.
If we're doing too much, it means that we're not getting back to people, which is, are you easy to work with? And so like those for me are the kind of the grounding principles by which we go into every single day, excited to take on the new challenges of the day. But we're naturally curious about the opportunity to apply this technology into different sectors and different areas.
Okay.
So learning so much.
Yeah.
But having a laugh doing it, which is the key thing. Yeah.
I love it. It's great to have those kind of grounding principles to come back to, because I suppose, especially when it's a very new company and a new, everything about it is new and a new role for you, it can feel, overwhelming and in all the ways, and for you to kind of make sure, because I find like whenever I'm at my busiest, when I'm really busy with auctions and events and my different contracts and customers, and I become reactive. And I always say I hate when I'm in that reactive mode where I'm not being proactive. I'm just reacting to the things that are like emails that are coming, and I'm like, oh, I'm just, and I feel like, I'm not giving anything my full, or I'd love to do a wee bit more here. And it's hard, I guess it is, especially whenever you are, working for yourself as well. It's hard to you give me great advice, back when we met for lunch last year.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, you did.
Oh, crikey.
You told me to read Atomic Habits.
Oh, James Clear.
Yeah.
Yes, great.
Yes. And then Brian, my husband, read Atomic Habits.
Nice.
it's such a, it was lovely. I think I was telling you this when I was reading Atomic Habits. I was like, I do a lot of these. I actually already have good Atomic Habits. And then there would be a section I'd be like, oh yeah, I really, really need to work on this. So talk to me about your self-development. I think that exudes from you. You're an incredibly fast, talented, hard training athlete, runner. I said that really badly.
I think that's an exaggeration.
I
but
said
yes,
that badly. But you're a competitive runner. Can I say that? You run competitively.
I love
Own it.
I love the idea of not just a race, but like a series of races. So I love the idea that it's not just like turning up on the day and actually doing the race. It's the preparation. It's the weeks in advance. It's the little choices. I'll go for the salmon today instead of the burger, or I've got a long run tomorrow, so I got to go to bed early. It's like it helps you make your lifestyle better. For me, certainly. And I remember there was a couple of formative moments. I came out here and I went all guns blazing to try and make a success of this big leadership role that I'd gotten at First Derivatives running the Americas. And I was in my saying yes to everything phase. So I was out for breakfasts, lunches, dinners, drinks, 4 or 5 nights, like 3 or 4 nights a week maybe, but it was a lot of events. And I came home that Christmas and met a very good pal of mine, Davy Fitz, shout out. And he said, "Twomey, you look like a stuffed turkey." And he meant it from a place of kindness. So it's been good to people who are being kind to people, but he wasn't being mean.
Is he from Cork?
He's a Cork boy.
That's the Cork person's way of saying I love you.
I love you, but you have put on a lot of weight. You've put on a lot of weight, my friend, and you may want to change your lifestyle habits to address such matters.
Yeah.
And so James Clear Atomic Habits, which was remove all of the friction of doing the hard things. And so packing your bag the night before, bringing literally having it at your front door so that when you're leaving for work in the morning, you don't have to think about grabbing your bag. And then a simple change was just running home every day. So don't walk home, don't take the subway. Just it's 20 minutes of dead time anyway. Go for a run. And my times were getting a little bit better as I was running, and I was losing a bit of weight, and I was generally sleeping better and happier. And my wife got me a lesson for my birthday with a 10K Olympic finalist.
Wow, what a great gift.
It was a fantastic gift.
Yeah.
John Henwood, shout out. So John Henwood ran in the Olympic 10K finals, I think in Sydney, and 6'4", based in New York, and had the lesson with him, and I've been running with his club ever since.
Wow.
And so that's kind of, I'd say 6-7 years ago now, and just really, really enjoying it, yeah.
And within that, do you mind me asking with the lesson? I love to run. I'm not, I would like to know 2 things. Do you map out over like a 6-month period how many races you're signing up for? How do you do that?
I think I treat them all as kind of series. So like sign up for 3 or 4 races in a cluster.
Okay.
And then don't treat each race as the big thing. Treat it as like, okay, I'm going to sign up for 4 races, the first of which is in 10 weeks time. Mm-hmm. And the first race is really just kind of setting the bar. Like, it doesn't matter how you do. Go out there and that's like, you're setting your watermark for yourself. Then the second race, you want to do a little bit better. The third race might be the big race, like I'm going to do a PB or something special. And then the fourth race is just there in case the PB doesn't pan out. Okay. But treating it as a series.
Love that.
So many people are intimidated by doing a race. You don't have to do a race. Well, don't treat it as a race. Yeah. Treat it as the first in a series where you're just setting a watermark for yourself.
Love that. And second question, are there any like particular things you learned from that amazing runner that you could share?
I couldn't steal his.
Well,
his coaching is a paid service, Sophie.
Sorry.
www.johnhenwood.com/referral code Conor Twomey. But it was his advice was I was running pretty much 7 days a week. And he's like, it's a miracle that you haven't injured yourself. You need to go to the gym 1 day a week and do weights just to build up your strength and endurance around injury prevention. Mm-hmm. And he said, you need to spend a day at the track. So you need to go to the track 1 day a week to get a little bit faster. And then a couple of other tips. No spoilers.
Okay, well, those things are pretty. That's good. That's good. And tell me your PBs. Like, what are your speeds and times then races that you're most proud of?
So my brother Mick, during his best man speech at myself and Trina's wedding, said, if you want to lose an hour of your life, ask Conor about running, because I'm so bloody passionate about it. Like, so we could talk all day on this topic. I kind of set little goals here and there, but I had a big goal to try and run a sub 80-minute half marathon. So I did that last year and this year, which I was delighted with. I've run 3 full marathons, all just under 3 hours, which I was happy with. And then I had a goal to run 10 miles in under an hour. So I gave that an attempt earlier this year, failed. And then about a month ago, did that up in the Bronx.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I had a huge failure last Sunday. I think a lot of people talk about success on these sort of podcasts. And stuff like, everything's great, I'm amazing.
Yeah.
But like, completely fell on my face failure last Sunday in Staten Island. So I was 5 miles in, hoping to do a personal best. Started feeling really sick, and just had a miserable last 8 miles. It was awful. So it's okay. I was able to pick myself back up again. And I think having 2 kids, you come home and you realise actually, like, it's just a race.
It's just a race. Yeah.
You'll have another shot. Yeah. And I do have another shot with a guest that you had recently, Mr. Eamon Coughlin.
What a man.
So I'm on the board of Goal USA.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to go to Sierra Leone last year for a week.
Wow.
And we'll be heading out to Ethiopia this November. And so spending some time in rural areas of Ethiopia, population of 130 million. Goal has 800 staff, 34 offices. The staff are primarily Ethiopian. They call it Goal University because Goal have been there for 50 years, which is incredible.
Wow.
And so we'll have time to spend time out in the front lines, looking firsthand at what the programs are doing and providing some support there. So really excited. But there's the great Ethiopian 10K race in Addis Ababa, which is at altitude, and so I'll have the chance to run that with Eamon, which I'm excited to do. Yes,
I just got shivers because that is going to be a memorable time. It's so incredible what Goal are doing, and this great Ethiopia run is just amazing. I mean, and I know people can still get involved. It's when is it again? November?
So we're flying out November 12th and coming back, I think, November 19th.
Wow.
And it'll be an annual event.
Amazing.
So Eamon Sharkey and Laura and the 2 kids relocated here earlier this year. They're your next guest.
Eamon Sharkey won't come on. No.
We'll have a chat. We'll have a chat.
Because he was here when I interviewed Eamon Coughlin, and he was just kind of in the background.
We'll get Sharks in.
He's a legend.
Absolutely. But the aspiration is that this will become an annual event.
Love that.
So we should have fun.
Eamon Sharkey also told me, because Eamon obviously works for Goal, that the only time he gets to have a meeting with you, because you are so busy, is you schedule him to go have a meeting with you when you're on a run.
Yes.
So is this a trend? I love this. Running meetings. Like, I know I've heard about walking meetings, but running meetings.
Well, it's like, so I don't listen to music or podcasts when I'm running, and I do like spending time with people, and so I'll be running most days. So it's like, grab your running kit. 5 o'clock. I try to run at kind of 5 o'clock and then be home to be dad for a couple of hours at 6. So between 5 and 6 is a great time.
Yeah.
And if I'm enjoying the conversation, we can run slowly and go at your pace. If I'm not enjoying the conversation, we'll go a bit faster at my pace, and there'll be no chatter.
Wow.
I'm only slagging.
Eamon's quite a bit shorter than you two. I'm like, this is lovely. Conor, we're unfortunately almost at time.
No.
I know, you've been an incredible guest. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with on Navigating New York? Navigating New York is all you've fulfilled the brief so well, and you've talked about your experience coming to New York and life here and the opportunities and how you find balance, and you've become a dad and you've started this whole new venture, AI1. Anyone listening that might be sort of at a crossroads, maybe in their career, maybe a little bit lost, you've had such an impressive portfolio, and also living life to the full. Any advice?
I think 2 things. I think everyone with kind of 3 or 4 years of experience has something interesting to say, and not being afraid to take a perspective and to put that opinion. So if it's in a professional setting, if you're an accountant or if you work in audiovisual, Scott, shout out, pal.
Scott's the man.
Scott's the man.
He laughed. I could hear him.
But it's like you underestimate how interesting your story is to others. And so having the confidence to actually stand up and tell a story.
Love that.
And to get involved in thought leadership and to say yes to things like panels and podcasts, and realizing that you are going to absolutely shit yourself the first 10 times you do it. And then you might just about survive the next 10 times you do it. And then when you get to kind of number 30, iteration 30 of either creating content or speaking publicly, you begin to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. You begin to figure out, okay, how can I make this better or more relatable the next time? And so I wish I'd started that journey a little bit earlier. And my advice to people would be, don't be afraid to put your thoughts out there.
Yeah, take up space.
And the second thing I'd say is, if you don't have a mentor, no matter where you are in the life journey, find a mentor. Find someone that has attributes that inspire you, or have a history that inspires you, a journey that inspires you, and just spend time and be curious and spend time with them. And those would be my 2 pieces of advice, really.
Conor, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on Navigating New York. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Bam.
Cut. Do one more to the camera. One more point. The guns, the pistols.